talk to you about our Lolli-Cube, which is an attachment for the Xpole Xstage. So we got booked for an event, they wanted a cube. We didn't have enough ceiling height for there to be the rig in the venue. So we decided to go with a Lolli-Cube, as we've coined it, instead. So I just wanted to talk you through how we built this apparatus, because it's really hard to find online where people get things welded, what sizing everything is, and I find that you'll find a lot of these cool things from Instagram that are usually made in Russia or Ukraine, and then I have a really hard time figuring out how to get that done in North America. So this is the Lolli-Cube here. I went for 95 by 95 centimeters for the dimensions. On reflection, this has made the cube quite wide, and it does feel a little bit topply, even though it's reinforced with a lot of weights on the actual base of the Xstage. But if I was going to do this again, I would actually do it by 90 by 90 instead. It also just means you're not really reaching in the cube for everything, which I found, I mean, it still works, but I think it would be ideal if it was just a little bit more compact. I might do that in future and change this into an aerial cube and then make a smaller one for the lollipop adjustment. So it is pretty big, it's quite heavy. It does need two people to lift it up onto the stand. So if you do have an Xstage, I just use the bottom pole, pole A, and then similar to the lollipop, you're just gonna actually put that attachment in. So with the lollipop here, I took this to a machinist and had this sleeve replicated so that it could slot on. Now there is some, like a spreader bar inside, which basically, or it's an expander, so it expands and tightens the lollipop to the pole. So the hardware is still in there because I haven't figured out how to replicate that for this, but just getting this machined so that it's going to fit. And then he actually left a little bit of extra so that we could, sorry, I'm just going to put that back, so that we could have enough space for the cube to get welded on. So this was expensive. It was really time consuming for the machinist to replicate, so it did cost like almost $500 Canadian. Which some people might think is expensive. Like it's expensive, but it's totally worth it. It's exactly what I wanted, and for me to go through and try and buy this, or try and figure out how to get somebody to make it, it was just going to be a huge process. So the machinist that I know is local, and he's done some aerial work for me before, so he was really great. He did say it was quite time consuming to replicate, but it was totally doable. And then as for the steel I just ordered from Triton in Canada. I went for a 1 1/4 inch bar, just so that it has a little bit more cush for being like wide enough to sit on, and it's just more comfortable when you're in there, because I imagine this is more of like a pouring wine fairy style apparatus. But I made an aerial pyramid in the past, and we did that bigger, and it was just too thick for your hands to grab. So it was more comfortable, but it was way different than like grabbing an aerial hoop, for instance. So I did 1 1/4 inch on this. The steel itself is all HREW steel, so I just ordered 40 feet of that. And then very conveniently, my fiance is a welder, so he did do the welding for me. And that wasn't too complicated. I mean, it's just a square at the end of the day, but if you're gonna take it to a welder, like I had given him the dimensions, I told him how thick I wanted it, and he sort of knew what was happening and did the rest. So that worked out really nicely for me. He's also built me more other aerial equipment, so he knew what he was doing and kind of what I wanted. And so then we mounted the sleeve onto the cube, so that got welded on as well, and then that lets the cube sit up sort of like a diamond shape on the pole, which you can see here in this video. So yeah, the cube, I really like it. It's really great. It is quite different from a lollipop. If you're familiar with having a lollipop, it's a little bit more like, it's harder to spin in. It's a little bit more top heavy. And I have found with the Xstage that I can't really have it on static mode because it's too wide and the screws aren't really tight enough to hold it in place. So I just do have it on spin mode. I also had to reinforce the lollipop with weight plates underneath the lollipop and on each of the legs as well. But all in all, I'm really happy with the result. I do feel like buying circus equipment can be tricky sometimes, especially if you want out of the box stuff. I think there's actually a few welders that like specialize now in building circus equipment, which is really great. So if you are in the market for something, I would maybe go down that route first. Or if you do know somebody local, I think you really need to like explain what it is, what materials you want, and what exactly like what you're going to be doing with it. I feel like showing pictures and videos is really helpful. But yeah, ultimately you want somebody that knows what they're doing. So yeah, I'm really happy with my aerial cube. We took it for its debut this week at an event at the Fairmont in Whistler, and it was a great success. So hopefully lots more events with the aerial cube or the Lolli-Cube. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments below and I'll do my best to help you. And yeah, like and subscribe for more tips. See you next time.